Welcome to Ask Us Marketing. I'm your host, Callie Fedesinko. I'm the founder of Savvy Advisor Marketing, a digital marketing agency developed to build relationships between financial advisors and their target audience using data to create websites, online content, and ads. We build relationships first and grow numbers second. You can learn more about me and Savvy Advisor Marketing with this QR code. And as always, our episode today is brought to you by the Financial Planning Association, otherwise known as the FPA, which is a great resource center providing education, support, and networking opportunities for financial advisors like you. And if you're not already watching on one of the FPA channels, I encourage you to scan this QR code and learn more about them because they have a chapter in your area and lots of things for you to explore. All right, inside this episode, we're diving into digital footprint strategy. Say that 5 times fast. We're digging in with Ryan Griffiths, former Google insider, from how AI should actually be used in business strategy to why plug and play design tools can hurt your positioning. This conversation is going to go deeper than surface level marketing. And if you're relying on templates, generic AI outputs, or assuming your data is private, this episode is going to challenge your thinking in the best way. So please join with me, Ryan Griffiths, to A.U.M. And as always, ask your questions in the comments.
Thank you,
Hi,
Callie.
Ryan.
I love the intro. That was so nice.
Yeah.
For that.
Let's start by, I teased it a little bit. Let's start by telling people, how are you a Google insider?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually, for a long time, didn't know I was working at Google at first. So I worked ended up getting sick in college, early college, and I had to find a way to work from home, like way before work from home jobs were a thing.
Mhm.
So about 2015, I was looking at that, and then I ended up coming across. I knew about SEO, so search engine optimization, and all the marketing people trying to do that, and we learned about it in college. But they were hiring for a domain authority auditor, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it said it needed like SEO experience, and I was like, well, I have that. Like I have that. So I joined, and what I ended up doing is domain authority is how Google ranks everybody on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's the behind the scenes of how SEO works. And so I ended up becoming an auditor for Google, their GOC, Google's Operations Center. So we were like the tech support for the actual Google people.
Yeah.
And then we ended up learning, we would be called in when they would be flagging SEO bad sites or sites that were flagging for spam or people reporting something as like phishing or like weird sites. They'd bring in humans to actually audit that. I'm sure it's automated by AI now, but back in the day, it didn't used to be. And that was a really interesting way on how to get on the other side of that. And I did that for about 2 years until I went into normal marketing and consulting.
Great. I mean, talk about some great insider knowledge. And digital footprint, that's a term I feel like not very many people actually know what that means.
For sure. Yeah. A lot of people used it as a buzz term for a long time. And now, so about 18 months ago, social changed from a For You page type feed, which was always based on followers. So It was based on who you followed. It was based on who followed you. And then they would slowly show you what was on that page based on only that information. About 18 months ago, it changed. The AI changed into basically, if I paused on a video that had a garbage truck and comedy and other things like that, my next 5 videos are going to be garbage trucks.
Can confirm.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. So it's, and like I paused on something I didn't even want to pause on. And now in the next 5 minutes, I'm watching the same. That they changed to it's keyword specific, and they're using the SRT files and what's on they're using the visual images of what's on what you're pausing and all of that. So it's changed how people are viewed on the internet. And your digital footprint isn't just what you post on social. It isn't just what you have on your website. It's how all of those interconnect. So if someone sees us on LinkedIn today, they're going to go ahead and search both of our websites. Well, then that's going to lead them to an article or could lead them to our other social media. And Google tracks all of that now.
Right.
And so do the other ones. Meta tracks their own and other things. And then as the next day, they're going to show more of our content or more of Savvy Advisor Marketing. Did you watch this past episode a few weeks ago? And that's only just on them liking or doing stuff like that today. And people don't realize that like you need to look at the whole footprint, not just post anymore.
Right.
Or
simply. I could see with this, I could see some people starting to say, well, quantity then. It's all about quantity and getting it out there. And I feel like that is not accurate. So can you talk about that? Like, should I just get a bot to post links everywhere of Savvy Advisor Marketing?
So I won't say that that's not a strategy, because obviously you see people do it. You also see people like Gary Vee and stuff in our space who are like, you should be making 100 things of content a day, and all of that. But I don't think that's accurate. I think you need branded content that is you specific. It's using your branding. I don't believe in Canva templates. I very much believe that you need Adobe designers and you should have all of that. And we even had someone, I'm on the director of technology for Charlotte Economics Club. And they go, well, why don't we just post our pictures like from the event? What's the difference from that than like having it branded and having our logo and stuff on it? Well, that's fine. But one, it's just going to look like someone's personal post.
Right.
And then two, on top of that, how do they know it's you? How do they know it's the CEC? How do they know that it was a branded event? How do they know any of that? And then when people go to look back on that, all they're going to see is people going to an event. And going back to how AI is using that, your search and stuff now, it cares that you went to the event. It cares that the logo is in there. It cares. It's going to pick up on all of that on the screen.
Right.
For that, yeah.
For the footprint, let's talk about tagging. That's something that I've seen very underutilized with financial advisors, and for good reason. There's a lot of handcuffs, like, oh, it has to go through compliance first, and then if you're using a third party, you can't tag anybody. So I get that there's a lot of reasons that they don't do it, but let's talk about how that expands the digital footprint,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So a lot of people still use hashtags. They are no longer relevant unless you are at a physical event, you were at a conference, you were at anything else like that. Because they're using the SRT files, it's actually your post descriptions. It's actually your, you'll see people in the transcripts put different words than what they're saying on the screen because it wants them to pick up what they're saying in that rather than the actual word they're using.
Oh, and let's stop for a second. I have a feeling a lot of our listeners aren't going to know what SRT is.
Okay. It's the transcripts files that you are on most platforms, YouTube and Meta specific, require you to upload as far as what you said in the video. So it turns around and it uses that information, like we said earlier, to, they said SEO, they said marketing, they said, moms. We're going to target all these people that are searching that information.
Yeah. Now and they will, if you don't have an SRT file, they'll automatically do it for you.
Yes.
Be warned. It's not always accurate.
Yep. It is the equivalent of trying to auto-generate YouTube descriptions or where it's just predicting things and you're like, that's not what that said at all. So no, it's and that's, people are like, oh, well, like I can do it with myself with Canva. You can, you absolutely can. You probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And you can probably for the beginning, but you're going to want someone who knows this type of stuff. And because for example, Meta updates every 45 days. They give a new algorithm push. They give a new feature. They'll change something on how it's searched. They're constantly changing image sizes. Like that's an annoying one. I know our graphics team hates that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, so because you got to go back and edit everything. Oh, they just had one the other day. We finished a whole 2 months of video editing, and they moved the transcripts up 2 centimeters because they made the advertising box there.
Yes.
And so we had to go back and edit 40 videos because all the transcripts were in the wrong spot. So
fun stuff in the marketing world.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. I'm trying to think of going back to answering the question for that though. The using Adobe templates, using a lot of those, it's going to pick up a more personal brand. And also, if you do it in a similar way, the algorithm's actually going to really narrow in on that information of how, for example, like I loved how you have the outro, the image for the show, because AI is going to pick up on that every time. Every time people who interacted with this episode, they're going to interact with it probably 2-3 weeks from now, and it's going to show the same thing. And I really like that. And advisors need to be aware that they're not just posting content for the week; they're posting content for forever.
Right. Your brand.
Yep, your brand on them. Yep.
Brand strategy. And then speaking of strategy, I've kind of gotten sidetracked with the digital footprint because I find it super interesting. But back to AI. Let's talk about using AI in strategy and why it can be dangerous. And I've seen firsthand from people that I've worked with, and I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
Why is it dangerous to let AI replace expertise?
For sure. I think, that there was an article stating earlier, 86% of the world hasn't used AI, which is like 6.8 billion people. Of that, 16% of the world has used the free version of AI, which was like, and then it was 0.4 of you that use the paid version like you and I have.
Right.
And then 0.04 have built with AI. So a lot of people think that it's coming for their jobs. A lot of people think that it's that, but it's not. It's the experts who are already aware of their field that are going to be able to use it better than the average person.
Right.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that coming with that, you can go ask ChatGPT what's the best way to market my business. But like, it's going to go to events, post on social, start a podcast. That's great. Those are very good. Those are good ideas. But then you should go to a marketing person and go, okay, well, here's what your podcast should be about. Here's what you actually enjoy. Here's what your audience cares about. And actually work with someone on that. And then on top of that, a lot of people are trying to use AI in like Canva. Or use a lot of people for a while I saw jump on Facebook's AI where they were doing the avatars, and that was all the marketing trends of the little Facebook avatars and stuff like that for a while. And obviously that died out. And I think a big point of that is a lot of people are forgetting that AI for most people isn't an everyday use.
Right.
And I think people realize, especially with a few, I know Anthropic and a few others, it's no longer private.
Yes, you were talking to me about this before, and it's scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we go on anymore, I just want people to know the QR code above my head will take you to that article that Ryan is referencing with the stats about AI and people using.
Yeah, it was a really good article for that, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, back to what you were saying. AI. And something.
We were talking about and how it's not private.
Yes.
So a lot of people, I hear people go, well, like, why do I need to go to a therapist? I can just talk to ChatGPT.
Oh, that's
why
terrifying.
do I need to which is horrible advice, but it's not why do I need, why should I go to WebMD when I can ask ChatGPT what my symptoms are and then tell the doctor? I had someone tell me the other day that the doctors trust ChatGPT more than me saying I looked it up on Google. And I was like, I don't know about that. But like people are trusting it so explicitly that people don't realize that it's all public.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, especially like from an advisor's perspective or even from a branding perspective, you need to be aware of what you're telling and training your AI on, because your competitors can get it too. And or from like a financial advisor's perspective, you don't want to use any of your clients' information because anyone can look that up. And not realizing that like ChatGPT, the chats are public now. You can share any chat you want. You can share like a lot of that information. And you don't, because I had someone go, well, you can put your business information in there and like it'll tell you, spit out like what it should do. And I was like, you need to be really careful with that because, for example, I have a business partner of mine. They do coffee, and they have it registered trademark, all that information. They went through all the business processes for that. It's like, it's not their first food company. So they're very familiar with what to do. And they were in the Colorado area trying to think of ideas, and they talked to ChatGPT went to a conference a few weeks later, someone saw their idea and their name and came up with a totally different business with the same name, and went to ChatGPT to come up with ideas, and it fed them my friend's ideas, like verbatim. And that was an example of how just talking to it and getting business ideas of in my area, you could look up what are business competitors talking about in my area, what are they searching in my area, and use that. So it's very interesting of thinking that it's not public, but also realizing that it's not public.
Right.
You know, I can go out and say, I'm going to be the best financial advisor in West Palm Beach. And if you have an expert like us who knows on how to take that information, use that digital footprint, make an article about it, make a post about it, and then feed ChatGPT that I'm the best person in West Palm.
Right.
Well, you can use that to your advantage, but you also need to know that your competitors can do that too.
Right. It's also interesting to think about from a operations standpoint and HR. Like, it's not just what you are doing, but it's what your employees are doing and contractors that you've hired.
Yes.
Who knows what they're putting into.
Yep. I have certain contracts that we've had to sign that state that our subcontractors can't use certain AI because the government or said they can't use that, or we have some in aviation who are like, hey, you can't use these 3 AI. We can use anything else.
AI were they?
They're also a little outdated. So another interesting thing is companies aren't keeping up with how fast AI is moving. So
it's like impossible to.
Yeah, for sure. But like, for example, their AI policy said that they didn't want them using ChatGPT, Bard, and Bard's not even around anymore. Like, it's like Gemini. I think it's Gemini, right? Or is it Nano Banana?
I don't even know.
Because they keep updating. I'm pretty sure it's Gemini.
Yeah, and then they're all buying each other.
then you see Copilot. What's the difference between that and the other ones? Yeah. So it's interesting to be aware of all of that. And another thing too, in the privacy thing, one that my business partner actually specializes in is governance. What is AI governance? Who should be in charge of that? What should we be allowed to tell AI? What should we not be allowed to tell AI? Should we give AI our handbook because it could tell us on how to be more efficient? Or should we not, because then it knows everything in our company?
Exactly.
And how to get around stuff. And like,
well, and even a company that's private today could be public tomorrow. Yes. I mean, just look at I'm blanking on the name, but the DNA company.
Either 23andMe or Ancestry.
23andMe, who they sold, and now all of that data is no longer going to be private.
And I have 23andMe. So
me too.
Mine's out there. It's just and so I was like, well, I guess that's hopefully used for good. But I mean, like, it feels much more like a comic superhero world every day with all the stuff happening in technology.
It does. And what's crazy to me is like that you have an example of somebody learning something that your client was doing, whereas I can't even get chat to read my transcripts.
And that's another big example of like going back to, so many people haven't used AI. You know, you and I were discussing earlier, I've been using AI for almost 7 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have only been used ChatGPT the last 2 or 3 years.
Right.
When it got popular.
Yeah.
And I was doing it a little bit before, when it was statistics and just automations of if and ands. And that was called systems automation. And that was technically AI, because we were making things automated.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that, like, it's been around almost a decade.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere. And it's the new internet. And as much as people aren't aware of it, it's also staying. And people need to become aware of it. We're actually working on, we don't have it ready yet, but we're working on a training on just going over the basics of AI. So that way, not basics of ChatGPT or Claude, but the basics of AI, so people can just jump into it and learn that, like, oh, this could help me. One of the best things that we were talking about yesterday, even at my buddy's lunch for his birthday, was he uses ChatGPT for recipes. He opens up his fridge, he takes a picture.
Oh, how interesting.
Takes a whole picture of his fridge, and then goes and takes a picture of his pantry and goes, here's my ingredients. And then it goes, use this, this, and this.
I'm gonna have to try that.
And then, and then we had another one. He goes, oh, I've done that too. I opened up my spice rack and it told me to pick these 3. He's like, it's the best spices I've ever had on a dish. And I was like,
so interesting.
So it's very interesting on how you use it. Another one, we were brought in to do AI and behavioral training, to train it on that. And that was to do an internal like chatbot AI for a company. So back to the internal processes. And we were feeding it standard operating procedures and their handbook and a bunch of other things. And then one person in the company was getting so much better use out of it. And we're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing different?
And he's like, we're like, what prompts are you doing? And he's like, oh, I don't prompt it. And I was like, what? And he's like, I just talk to it as if it's Jarvis.
Oh.
And so he's treating it as if it has its own brain.
So he's doing like audio.
Yes. Well, and or even just typing.
Oh,
and so he would be like, how would I figure out this? What would I do to that? What is your opinion on this? And then that information, the AI was handling it as a totally different question rather than it being prompted and giving him better results because it knew what it could do faster than he did.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very interesting on how it's going to be applicable in the future. Yeah. And like you said, it's coming no matter what. So even companies like SpaceX who could go IPO or other things, they're using Grok all the time. And I saw something the other day. It was someone putting a negative post on someone else's like business post, and it was on Twitter, and they used Grok and said, Grok, how often is this person negative? And Grok replied, well, usually they have 138 posts with a negative response that has 0 likes, which means that their strategy isn't working. And Grok roasted them in its own, and that's a use of AI that no one thought of. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I don't have to reply to a negative comment. AI can make them, look silly. And all that. It's really interesting.
So the public versus private, is there an AI that you recommend that you're like, this one's safe?
So yeah, we just learned about it at a conference. I went to Orlando. There's a keynote speaker. He works with Squared AI, or AI Squared. They work with the United States Navy. One of my clients do too. So they have a lot more logistics infrastructure, which I liked. Right. He was explaining that Google's Notebook LM is very similar. It works like Gemini and the other ones do. But it only works with information you give it. It prevents hallucination. It prevents it using from outside information. So if I only give it an SOP, only that conversation knows it, and it can make it so it's not sharing it with anyone else. Right. So I think if people are going to try to use and try to work in that, that would be one to start in before you try to get into the others. I think one that kind of works, and we've used it a little bit, but I don't recommend it on a large scale, is Midjourney. Okay. Midjourney is very good for ideas, very good for some basic social posts, but because it's using AI and you have the AI scanners on social, I wouldn't lean heavy into that unless you are an AI company, because your branding is going to get diluted. Diluted and downranked because it's not seeing it as genuine. That's another thing, like we were talking about with the templates, like you mentioned. I don't believe in using Canva templates because that looks great. Very professional than you doing it in Paint back in the day or in PowerPoint.
I mean, I don't know, Ryan.
So we have a friend who makes custom digital cards in Paint every year, and they animate, and I'm like, how are you doing this? Yeah. And I was like, have you heard of Canva? And she's like, no. And I said, you should go on Canva because if you could do this in Paint, you are amazing. Right. But back from a marketing perspective, I disagree because you look just like every other realtor. Yeah. You change the colors, you put your picture up, but like the algorithm is going to see the same outline. It's going to see the same layout, and it's going to see the same key terms. You changed Florida to North Carolina, you changed home to bungalow. Like it's not going to make you different to the algorithm. Yeah. And it's going to show, oh, they like this. That means whoever paused on that likes these 100 other realtors, these 100 other, advisors for that. I use realtors because they all use the same every realtor
Yes.
post that looks like use the same thing.
Yes.
So, and that's because a lot of realtors try to do their own marketing and they do Canva. And I'm like, you should do Adobe. Get someone that's trained, get someone that knows design, get someone that makes your brand look really nice.
Right.
And adds accents to it, and people become memorable.
Right.
Behind that. Yeah.
Where you actually have a brand voice.
Yes. And the strategy long term. And everything else behind that. Like, today you should look at getting post out and informing your audience and cross posting. And like you said, with the tagging, tagging's very important because the algorithm goes, instead of the hashtags, they go, oh, well, these brands want to work together, which means these audiences want to work together. And I think there's even a difference between tagging where like Facebook lets you tag the person at the core level, but then you can at them in the post.
Oh, yeah.
I think both of them work very differently. I think at them in the post, that's going to get the For You page engagement, but the tag is going to get people in the notification engagement.
Yeah.
Hey, this person notified on that.
Right.
And then another big one that I think is massively underutilized is comments.
Oh, yeah.
There was a viral post that was like, whatever happens, whatever the first comment is, I'll go ahead and I'll eat that. And the first comment was so funny that it had 3.8 million likes and the post had 600,000 likes.
Interesting.
The comment had more attention
than
the post itself. And it's because it was engaging, and they had like hundreds of thousands of comments after that. And it's I think comments are very underutilized. And after you put up engagement, if anyone likes or comments, you should engage back, because that's going to help with that tagging and help with a lot of that there too.
Yes.
From that strategy side. So when you're pairing good content, which increases engagement and people actually doing that, and then you're engaging back, AI looks at all of that and goes, oh, this isn't automated. It's not a bot creating 100 pieces of content. It's a real person using branded strategy, and AI is helping them rather than what we talked about earlier of someone going, yeah, we can pay someone $2,000 to pump out 100 of the same content and then delete
post it everywhere.
Yeah, and then delete 80 of them when I find 10 that work.
Yes.
So no, that's the 10 the algorithm decided to show, and that's not how that works anymore.
Yeah, I would say engagement is one of the hardest things, to get our clients to do, because we're doing the work for them already. So it's kind of like, well, I'm not in there.
Yeah.
You just handle it for me.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult. So I would challenge advisors, even if you're hiring somebody, to get in there and do engagement, because your clients. I'm not going to know if it's a client, a prospect, or your personal friend.
That's actually we at My Modern Marketing, my firm with that, we actually have an entire service dedicated to exactly what you're talking about. We call it PRBs, personal relationship builders, and it's their job for 4 hours a day to pretend to be that account and go and like people and engage with people and comment on stuff all across the internet.
Yes.
And then that we see on average natural followers of several dozen a month, and more people liking and more people commenting. And that would do better than, like you said, just going in or having an intern do it for an hour or anything else like that, but actually dedicating some of the time and doing that. Yeah. So.
We actually, on our behind the scenes side for a Savvy Advisor, I have someone on my team who will log in as me, and we have a list of people.
Love that. Okay. Yeah.
These are people that, this is how we're connected, and these are people we want to interact with.
I love that. Yeah. I love that, because going back to that digital footprint, once you learn your own, you can start seeing other people. So we have a client, her name's Michelle. She does marketing cookies.
Yes.
She's Covenant Cookie Creations, and she is what I reference of like using social the way it should be. She tags everybody every time she goes to an event. We told her to start doing stories. We're like, it doesn't have to be anything special. Just do a story and post it when you're there.
Yeah.
And then she's tagging the event when she's there. And then she's cross-posting with people at the event. And then she's doing events so people know where she's about to be. And then she's doing Throwback Thursdays to previous events. And all of these are working to her benefit of like just being seen.
Right.
And just being on there like that.
Yeah.
What was something you said specific, and I was trying to touch on that.
Engagement. A list of people.
I think it was related to listening to people. She goes and she comments on everybody. And people love it. And and organically she has grown to 500 followers with no ads or anything else because of that engagement, like you were talking about. Right. That, like you said, you need the community builders. She realized by doing her brand, this person's at every event. This person tags a lot of people. Right. And then we ended up finding one of them, and it was someone who is retired. And she's like, well, they have a very big following. Why is that? Well, come to find out, they were the postmaster of that community, of that whole county. Gotcha. So they knew everybody because they delivered all the mail.
That's hilarious.
And so we found through their retirement account, why does this one person in the community have 20,000 friends? Right. Well, it's because they were a mail person for 30 years, so they knew everybody.
That is amazing. I love that.
And like the digital footprint, like that goes back to, well, she was well known because the algorithm knew that everybody engaged with her and everybody liked her. She wasn't doing anything branded.
Right.
It was her. It was her. So.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've covered most of our questions here, and we've gone a little over 30 minutes. So let me go with, let's end with, what is something you would want people to know about using AI and digital footprint? Like a closing note, like if there's
absolutely. I think people need to be more aware and not afraid to put out content, but that the internet's going to find you no matter what. And I think it's important to put out content you're proud of rather than trying to just mass put out content, and that your digital footprint will increase if you are genuine, if you are unique in like your branding and yourself, and if you're just informative to the person. Don't sell and inform everybody why they need to learn anything. I think especially advisors and like most of your audience, I think they would benefit from, using your guys' branding and everything to deliver information that the average person doesn't know. Like no one knows that taxes change. No one knows that your Roth increases every year and you can put more into that, or like your kids and stuff could be, using that. That's a tax deduction on top of that per child. And like so much of this information could be nicely said without being salesy. I think a lot of people forget that it's no longer a salesy internet. People want to feel like they're your friend,
right?
And like you're helping them. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would say that's my closing statement on that. So.
Love that. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes. So great. So
absolutely. And then for our audience, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to see more stuff from Ryan, you can check out the link below. And let me put up his QR code one more time. Okay, up above me is his LinkedIn. You can scan that. It'll take you right to his profile. And then if you have questions that you didn't want to ask on a public channel, you can always ask me one-on-one. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if I don't know it, I will direct you to somebody who is more knowledgeable in that subject. So just scan that QR code, and I think it's like 15 minutes. Ask me anything within reason. And then join us next week. We'll be talking with Andy and LaFontant. She is an advisor, and she has seen success with using AI and with prospecting. I want to say it's specifically with niching down, and how she's been using AI to prospect to her niche. So join us next week to learn more about her process, and maybe there's something that you can take away from that. Until then, have a great week.